You open your phone for 1 minute just to check something quick. Next thing you know, 40 minutes are gone. You can't even remember what you looked at. If that sounds familiar, you are not alone. Your brain is not broken, it's overloaded. We are living in the noisiest era in human history. Notifications, alerts, pings, everyone wants your attention, and slowly, without you noticing, your ability to stay with one thing begins to collapse. This episode is not about quitting technology. It's about reclaiming the foundation of your entire life, your attention. I'm Dinesh Kumar, author, podcaster, and lifelong learner. This is the DK Talks. What is digital overstimulation? Let's start with what's actually happening inside your brain. Every notification, every burst, every little vibration triggers a tiny burst of dopamine. Not enough to notice, but enough to pull your focus over and over all day long. Imagine your brain trying to focus on one thing, but every few minutes something interrupts. A message, a reel, a new video. Each one whispering, "Look here, look now." And your brain, it listens. Neuroscientists call this the variable reward system. The same mechanism casinos use. You don't win every time, but sometimes you do. And that's unpredictability keeps you hooked. TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, all built on the same principle. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Most of it is forgettable, but every few swipes, something hits. And your brain says, one more, just one more. Here is the real problem. Constant stimulation doesn't just distract you, it changes your baseline. Your brain starts expecting that level of stimulation. Anything slower, anything deeper feels heavy, feels boring. But your brain isn't lazy, it's just overwhelmed. And when that becomes your baseline, you start seeing these signs. Signs your attention span is breaking down. Let me ask you something. Can you finish a 10-minute video without touching your phone? Can you read a full article without your mind drifting? Here are a few signs that your attention system is overloaded. 1. You can't finish a 10-minute video even if you genuinely want to. 2. You switch apps without purpose. Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube, back to Instagram, and not because you need anything, just because. 3. Silence feels uncomfortable. You need music, podcast, something playing in the background. 4. Reading feels heavy. Even a few pages feels like effort. 5. You are multitasking. Music while walking, podcast while walking, video while eating. A few days ago, I caught myself doing this. I kept checking emails and messages from my editors for the response about completion of the work because I needed to review and reply soon to keep the work moving. I opened one app, checked it for a few seconds, closed it, and immediately opened it again without realizing. It may be social media or work-related emails, but the brain doesn't know that. That was my wake-up call. If any of this sounds familiar, you are not broken, you are overstimulated. Personal moment, withdrawal in real life. On that particular evening, I sat quietly in my room for just 5 minutes. No phone, no laptop, no noise. Within seconds, my mind started screaming for stimulation. I reached for my phone out of pure habit, not intention. I usually keep all my gadgets in a different room to create friction, but even then, the urge was strong. So I forced myself to sit for another 30 minutes. Then I walked for another 30 without podcasts, without music, without anything, just me. That's when it hit me. It wasn't boredom, it was withdrawal. Why this happens? These signs. Three things are happening in your brain. One, attention residue. Every time you switch tasks, even for a second, your mind leaves behind a trace. Professor Sophie Leroy calls this attention residue. You check Instagram for 30 seconds, then return to work, but part of your mind stays stuck on what you saw. Do this few hundred times a day, your brain feels exhausted, not from deep work, but from endless switching. 2. Dopamine saturation. The more microdopamine hits you get, the less sensitive your brain becomes. Eventually, normal life conversations, reading, creating, feels too quiet, too slow, too dull. Because your brain is calibrated for constant stimulation. 3. Limbic hijack. Your prefrontal cortex is the CEO of your brain. It's responsible for focus, discipline, and long-term thinking. But overstimulation strengthens the limbic system, the part of your brain that wants quick hits, instant gratification, and easy dopamine. And over time, if you keep feeding the limbic system, it gets stronger. The prefrontal cortex gets weaker. You want to focus, you plan to focus, but the limbic system pulls you away. Not because you are weak, but because your brain has adapted to speed. The cost, what we lose. When your attention system collapses, here is what really happens. Creativity drops. Creativity doesn't come from more consumption. It comes from silence, from mental space. If your brain is always busy, there is no room left to create. Presence disappears. You are with someone you care about, but half your mind is elsewhere. Not because you don't value them, but because your brain is wired for constant input. Fake productivity takes over. You jump between tasks all day, but nothing meaningful moves forward. You feel busy, but you are not actually progressing. Sleep quality drops. Overstimulation doesn't turn off when your phone does. It follows you into the bed. Your mind stays restless. And the real cost is this: you stop creating, you only consume. Meaning doesn't come from what you scroll, it comes from what you build. Rebuilding your attention span step by step. Your attention span is not gone. You can rebuild it with patience. Think of it like an unused muscle. Here are 6 practices. Don't do all of them. Pick one and start there. 1. Attention fasting. Sit quietly. No phone, no music, no inputs. Just you and your thoughts. Start with 5 minutes. Your mind will resist. That's normal. Add 1 minute each week. Over time, your brain relearns how to be calm. 2. Single tasking, time boxing. There is a popular method called the Pomodoro technique, and it's effective because it creates structure. Use a cheap physical timer. A phone timer will do the opposite. It pulls you back into distractions. Here is the idea. Pick one task. Set a 25-minute timer. Do only that. One tab, one window, one intention. When the timer ends, take a 5-minute break. Then repeat. Even beginners can do 4 blocks like this. After the 4th block, take a longer 20 to 30 minute break. Most people think productivity comes from working more, but even the most experienced individuals can only manage 4 to 4.5 hours of deep work per day. If you are just starting, even 2 to 4 short blocks can transform your output. This isn't about working harder, it's about working clearly. 3. Digital diet. You don't need to quit social media, but you need to reduce the intensity of what you consume. If you can't replace short form immediately, do this. Set a 10-minute timer per day. Watch shorts or reels consciously, not passively. If you like something, keep it. If not, mark it as not interested. Repeat this for 2 to 3 weeks. This does two things. It retrains the algorithm. It retrains your brain. It may not feel like much, but even this small shift can move your attention baseline from 5 to 10 seconds to a full minute. Once your baseline improves, replace short form with long form. A documentary, a podcast, a single intentional video. Whatever you choose, limit the hours per day. And finally, turn off notifications. Everything except the essentials. Your brain adapts faster than you think. 4. Create low stimulation moments daily. Walk without music, eat without screens, shower without your phone anywhere near you. The small amounts of silence are not just calming, they activate something called the default mode network DMN in your brain. The DMN is responsible for reflection, creativity, and mental clarity. When you constantly stimulate your mind, the DMN never gets a chance to turn on. But when you give your brain even 2 to 5 minutes of low input, your dopamine baseline begins to reset. Your prefrontal cortex gets a break. Your attention span slowly strengthens. These micro resets are not optional, they are biologically necessary. And over time, you stop needing constant noise. Your brain becomes comfortable with silence again. 5. Monotasking Ritual. Before you start any task, pause for a moment. Take 5 deep breaths. Inhale for 5 seconds or simply count to 5. Hold for 5 seconds. Exhale for 5 seconds. This breathing activates your parasympathetic nervous system, easing mental tension and sharpening focus, especially on busy days. Neuroscientists also note that slow, controlled breaths increase prefrontal cortex activation, the part of your brain responsible for sustained attention. Then set a clear intention by saying it out loud. For the next 25 minutes, I am doing only this. It sounds almost too simple, but it works because you are giving your brain a direct command. One task, one direction, zero ambiguity. And the mind listens when you speak with clarity. 6. The 2-hour rule before bed. Avoid heavy digital input for 2 hours before sleep. No doom scrolling, no binge watching, no late night YouTube rabbit holes. Your brain needs time to wind down. You flooded with dopamine right before bed. Your melatonin production drops. Your sleep cycle gets fragmented, and overstimulation can even suppress early REM sleep, the stage responsible for emotional regulation and memory processing. That's why the next day feels heavier than it should. Create a calm evening routine. Read, journal, talk to someone. Sit quietly and let your mind slow down. Do this consistently and something interesting happens. You fall asleep faster and you sleep deeper. You wake up lighter, and your mornings begin to feel different, clearer, calmer, more anchored. Personal experience, what actually changed. I followed these 6 practices consistently for 2 weeks. The first 3 days were rough. I feel agitated, my focus dropped. I didn't feel real hunger, but I craved sugar, chips, and soda. That wasn't random. What was happening was this: my nervous system was shifting from sympathetic dominance, stress, alertness, stimulation, to parasympathetic dominance, calm, recovery, regulation. In simple terms, my body was coming out of constant stimulation. Because of dopamine withdrawal, I also had trouble falling asleep initially. But then something changed. By day 4, I felt noticeably calmer. By day 7, my sleep extended to 10 to 12 hours a night. That continued for another week and then gradually settled back to a stable 7 to 8 hour baseline. This wasn't exhaustion, this was recovery. Psychological changes I didn't expect. My face looked sharper, fluid retention reduced, inflammation went down, bloating went down. My stomach size started to decrease naturally without dieting. Sleep quality improved dramatically. 1.5 hours of deep sleep, 2 plus hours of REM sleep, 3 to 4 hours of light sleep, less than 10 minutes of total awakenings. That's what a regulated nervous system feels like. Cognitive and emotional changes. My thoughts became clearer. Mental fatigue dropped. I could meditate and do NSDR for longer durations without resistance. Productivity improved, and not because I pushed harder, but because my mind stopped fragmenting. Cravings disappeared. Exercise felt easier. Recovery improved. My vocabulary improved. I stopped repeating sentences unconsciously. Most importantly, I could observe my emotions without immediately reacting to it. That alone changes everything. There is more to this story, and that's for another day. But I'll say this: these practices didn't just improve focus, they changed my baseline. And that's why I have started writing a book combining journaling, neuroscience, and psychology to explain how these shifts actually work. These practices changed my life for good, and I genuinely believe if applied patiently, they can do the same for yours. Long-term rewiring, how your brain adapts back. Stick with these practices for 15 to 30 days and something shifts. Your dopamine baseline begins to reset and you stop needing constant stimulation just to feel normal. The prefrontal cortex strengthens. Focus feels easier, not forced. Your mind becomes less reactive. Silence no longer feels uncomfortable. Creativity returns, not as sudden inspiration but as clarity. Reading becomes smoother, conversations feel richer, presence feels natural again. And slowly you realize something important. You weren't missing out, you were just overloaded. Your attention is the foundation of your life. If you lose it, you lose everything built on top of it: your work, your relationships, your creativity, your peace. This isn't about rejecting the digital world, it's about reclaiming your mind inside it. Because the world will keep getting louder, the apps will keep getting faster, but your attention, that's still yours if you choose to take it back. Try just one practice today, even 5 minutes of silence can begin rewiring your brain. If this episode helped you, share it with someone who feels overwhelmed by digital noise. It might help them more than you think. If you enjoyed this conversation, consider liking the video and subscribing. It helps the channel grow. And let me know in the comments which practice are you starting with. I read every single one. Take care. I will see you in the next one.